Well, I think it's time for something just a little bit different, a little bit off the beaten path, and a little bit quirky. And all of those aspects can be found within this next album and this next band. So let's dive into it. Sounds So Weird by Bend the Future. So Bend the Future is a progressive rock band from France. They got their start back in 2019, so they're still fairly young. You know, they're still the young whippersnappers. I believe this is their third full-length album, if you can believe it. Their first one being Penelosung, from 2019, and 2021 Without Notice. So they've been pretty prolific, you know, one album every other year. And I really hope that this trend continues, because I've been really loving what I've been hearing within this record and within this band. It follows suit with more of the impressionistic, jazzier style of prog that we get from bands like, I would say, like Zop. More from like the Canterbury scene, but a little bit more of that jazz. It's very like impressionistic without being like super aggressive or super rocky. Their Bandcamp says that they are a progressive rock band based in France, identified generally by their odd time scaled tunes. They incorporate elements from the 70s rock, jazz, funk with Eastern European music in their sound. And that's pretty much right on the head. The thing that I love about this record is that it starts and ends with the only two tracks that have any kind of lyrics in it, and it's very minimal. You know, most of this is instrumental, and each of the tracks are fairly short and concise. Like, I think the two longest tracks are the opening and closing tracks, but in terms of purely instrumental, the longest track is, I think, 6 minutes. Somewhere beneath at 6 minutes and 46 seconds. The album opens up really strong with Desert Eagle, which is probably my favorite track. Not only is it like the most accessible track, but it's also like kind of the most conventional track as well. And it really does paint a perfect picture of what the listener is going to be exposed to for the rest of the album moving forward. Like, I love the darker aspect of it. I love that it's got this really aggressive and really intense time signature that's on it. You know, the rhythm section of this is just mind-boggling. It's kind of reminding me of some of the darker aspects that we would get with early Steven Wilson solo projects like Insurgence and Grace for Drowning. Just kind of like that darker side of things. And I love by the end of the track, it's progressed quite a bit, and we get a little bit more of that metal sharp tinge on it. The rest of this is 9 tracks over 45 minutes worth of music. And I love that each of these instrumental pieces really does kind of break off a specific aspect of the band and just kind of tinker around and play with it. You know, some of these tracks are a little bit on the darker side. Some of these tracks are a little bit more on the complex side, but it always kind of, it's the perfect intersection between this very jazzy, very funk style and very progressive in that sense. You know, it's kind of the intersection between these three styles of music, all within more of like a modern post-rock aspect of it. Really loving the interplays between all the musicians. You can tell that these guys are hungry and these guys really want to make a statement. And much like, say, a New Country or a Black Country New Road, they know when to use certain instruments very well. You know, like in Somewhere Beneath, the longest track, we'll have lots of passages where there's a sax playing off into the background to help pad this track even further. They know what's quirky and what's rocking in that sense. If you're craving something from the New Country, Black Country New Road, or even a Black Midi, this would whet your appetite. They're not quite as insane as the Black Midi, and they're not quite as indie as Black Country New Road, but they definitely have that kind of vibe. They definitely pass the vibe check in that sense. And the final track is the other one with lyrics on here, and it's really only at the very beginning, and then the rest of the album is left to blossom and bloom from there. Now is the moment. I really appreciate how aggressive these guys can get within their rocking style, within that jazzy funk aspect of it. You know, it's dark, it's aggressive, but it's never really sharp. You know, like they're able to contain that aspect of it, and it's always engaging in that sense. So yeah, in the end, Sounds So Weird was one that I really found myself gravitating to and kept coming back to. I love the instrumentations on this. I love the interplay between all the different musicians. If you're looking for something quirky, fun, and off the beaten path, I think this is going to be the album for you. I've been enjoying it. I've been putting it on when I need something a little bit more complex within background music, when I'm like reading or doing chores or something like that, but not so aggressive or in your face that I have to kind of like essentially force myself to pay attention to, right? This is a great kind of intermediary album in that sense. Yeah, I had a blast with it. I will say, in the end, sounds so... Oh, I keep saying that this sounds so weird. It sounds so wrong. I apologize throughout this. Sounds So Wrong by Ben the Future is one that I absolutely would pick up in physical format. I think I spent the entire review saying sounds so weird when it sounds so wrong. We'll see when I go to edit what this sounds like. We'll see. But that's my thoughts on this album. I had a great time. This would be a recommendation from me. I wouldn't necessarily say run, don't walk, but it does get, the note, seal of approval, and a thumbs up. I would go check it out. So that's what I've got for Sounds So Wrong from Ben the Future. What did you guys think about this record? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, please let me know by commenting down below. And that's all I've got. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.